Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. It is Sunday, the 8th of June, which means in 2 days' time and a few hours as well, transfer window one, if you want to call it that, the Club World Cup one will shut. The Reds are linked with players. We're hoping things will develop. There's plenty of rumours. And we're here as ever to talk through all the stories around Liverpool in today and yesterday's headlines a little bit as well, aren't we, people? I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from a quite sunny Edinburgh right now. That did change later on, but fingers crossed it does stay this way throughout the day. Fingers crossed wherever you are in the world, the weather is good and everything is looking rosy. But it's the Liverpool headlines you want to know. What's going on? What are the biggest stories around the Reds? So let's get into it. If we have a look at the AI website, and if we have a look at the AI website, there is only one person, one place to start with, isn't there really? And that is Florian Wirtz, because everyone's waiting a little bit, aren't they now? Like, come on, what's happening? What's going on? Get this done. Give me a here we, there we, whatever. Just get it done. I totally understand those sentiments. Everyone's the same. The latest update, if you want to call it that, was put out at 11:12 through Build, and it was from a Bayer fan account as well. So just in case anyone hasn't seen it, as the tweet says here, Bayer Leverkusen are now expecting what is likely to be the final written offer from Liverpool for Florian Wirtz. It's expected to be worth around 140 million euros in a package consisting of a fixed transfer fee and realistic add-ons. There is also the possibility it would include further bonus payments that are very difficult to achieve. Although Liverpool are not yet scheduled, or haven't yet, scheduled a medical examination for Wirtz at Bayern, an agreement is likely to be reached in the next few days. Do you know that meme, that Titanic one, where the old woman is like, it's been 84 years? It does feel that way, doesn't it? This has been dragging on and dragging on. But there has to come an end game either way eventually. And the one thing that we know how Liverpool operate is there's not going to be 7, 8 offers. We're at compromise stage now, I think, aren't we? That Leverkusen have put out there many times. They're looking for 150 million euros. But we know Wirtz has got 2 years left to go on his deal. We know he wants to go to Liverpool. We know he's not going to sign a new one there. So that plays into that. Also, Liverpool are never going to pay absolute top dollar, but they understand it is a prized possession, and Wirtz is going to be very respectful towards Leverkusen as well. So you're just hoping realistically this is, fingers crossed, moving towards a conclusion very, very shortly. And it probably leads to a few questions about today, but from the same fan account and from various places, Florian Wirtz is expected to start for Germany against France today. So the suggestions are he's like to be playing against Ibu, isn't he? In the 3rd, 4th place playoff. So that takes place, wow, in just under 3 hours now, doesn't it? Yeah, 2:00 kickoff. We'll see if he's part of the team. We have to expect it based on what we said. I think there's a few hoping that a medical will be announced, he'd pull out. But Julian Nagelsmann said yesterday, as it stood when he did the press conference yesterday, that he hadn't been told to withdraw anyone. So, yeah, there we go, ladies and gents. Okay. And then later on, it's also important to say, he's probably going to be on the bench, but Diogo Jota is set to possibly play a part in the Nations League final, 8:00 tonight, Portugal v Spain. So there is some football there. And Mr. Catcake saying, which striker are we signing, Dave? Pin your colours to the mast. Not a chance at this stage, my mate. Going to act like a proper Tory bastard politician and just hedge my bets, because I wouldn't bet solidly on anything. But we'll see if anything develops with Wirtz. today. We'll see if we get to Würzburg. Is it saying the words wrong probably there, but we'll see if that develops at the same time. There is a little bit of an Argentinian feel today as well on the Liverpool official site. That happy birthday to former Liverpool midfielder, the little chief, current manager, you forget, of Inter Miami, Javier Mascherano. So it is his birthday, but more importantly, with an Argentine feel, 2 years ago today, McAllister. What a banger. We got some bangers at the moment, haven't we, in the fan base? But Alexis McAllister, 2 years ago, we committed daylight robbery by getting him from Brighton for 35 million quid. There's a bit of me every now and again when I watched him last season, thought we should probably send them a bit more just because of what we've done. But then I remember Brighton are going to rob the likes of Chelsea and others as they keep doing anyway. It looks like Newcastle now for João Pedro, doesn't it? So don't feel sorry for them. But in simple terms, we got the best midfielder in the Premier League 2 years ago for 35 million quid. Absolutely insane. And you think back to like how he's done this season. He's played literally at times has played the 6, the 8 and the 10. We know he's amazing in all of them, but 12 goal contributions, 7 goals, 5 assists across the Premier League and Champions League. And if you just want to know how well-rounded a player he is, when he's compared to other top midfielders and we look at his FB ref, look at the contrast. 99th percentile for blocks, defensive. 94th percentile for shot creating actions, attacking. And that's also the fact he's not often playing as a 10. Non-penalty goals, 92nd percentile, attacking. 92nd percentile tackles, defensive. I generally don't care about other people's opinions in this. They're entitled to them. But for me, the best midfielder in the Premier League. You can't underestimate just how blessed we are to have Alexis McAllister. So yeah, 2 years ago today, what an anniversary to celebrate, eh? But it was, we say, South America, and we've talked about Verts and the international games. International games are going on still, which some of you might like international games. You are totally entitled to your opinion. I'm not really arsed. I'm just more hoping players don't get injured. But 4 of our boys were in action for one team last night. Did anyone clock that? Holland beat Finland 2-0 in their World Cup qualifying. It was in Finland, and all 4 started. Gakpo, Frimpong, Gravenberch, Van Dijk, and all 4 were absolutely sensational. And you can say it's Finland, so it's pitch opposition. I get all that totally. But Gakpo gets the assist, one of those little clip balls to the back post. Van Dijk dominates there. Gravenberch just ran the show from the middle. And by the way, Frimpong says vroom vroom. I don't know if you've seen him. Fucking electric. I'm not underselling this at all, just from the bits I watched. Pace we talk about, but the acceleration Frimpong has is insane. He literally, once on the left and once on the right, just stood up his fullback and just accept, like literally in a yard he's past him. Just knock it and go. And he could have, he probably should have scored, as Steven Gerrard mentioned there in the comments. Yeah, he probably had a header that the keeper just kept out, didn't he? But the acceleration Frimpong has is insane. And Holland played him as a right winger last night. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in. Because fullbacks, well, there's 2 on the screen there. Curtis Jones played most of the game. He switched after a bit at right back for England in Tommy Tuchel's debut. And Conor Bradley played the full match against Denmark, didn't he? So, tell you what, got options galore, but different styles, and whether you'd want them there is a different thing. But there is options, it's fair to say, at fullback at the moment, right fullback. Speaking of fullbacks, maybe a sad end to the season a little bit this way, but Kostas Tsimikas, an unused substitute for Greece. I think we expect when Kirkes does eventually get confirmed, and we are all expecting that, Costas will be off, many predict. A Red Armchair supporter there, interesting, saying Frimpong with slot coaching could do a madness in the Premier League. Yeah, absolutely. Just the acceleration was mind-blowing last night. But we'll see, because we say we got the two Nations League games with Liverpool players, potential Liverpool players involved, what today brings. What yesterday brought was a signing. And I'm probably going to balls up his name completely, but Armin Pesci, I think it's pronounced, Joe's little cousin, has joined. 1.5 million, as the official report says. The 20-year-old goalkeeper has finalised the switch to the Reds after completing a medical and putting pen to paper on a contract at the AXA Training Centre. He moves to Merseyside after a successful season in the Hungarian top flight, where he featured 30 times. And I'm hoping I'm going to get the pronunciations right if any Hungarians are watching me. Puskás Academia to a second place finish. So he's playing regularly in the Hungarian league and being a key player for a team that finishes second. Also, a nominee. That was it. I couldn't think of the bloody name yesterday. The prestigious 2025 Golden Boy Award. So the fact he's a nominee and he's won 5 caps for Hungary's under-21s today, I don't mind these signs at all. I know they're not always going to get people excited. Not for everyone. People want to hear first teams and all that. But these are good. And there's a few quotes. A shout out to Ben Boxat for these and producing them from others as well. From the kid himself. I think this is interesting. They, as in Liverpool, have data on everything, which they outlined in the meetings. It was astonishing how they paid attention to every small detail. Naturally, it gives me a lot of motivation that a club like this, with a data team like this, decided on my name. Now, from what we know for Pesci at the moment, he's set to stay with the under-21s, isn't it? There's no suggestion, as per reports yesterday, that he's going out on loan, but he'll be training and learning from Alisson and Marmadashvili. I mean, how good is that? And this is fascinating for me. It was his quote. It was astonishing how they pay attention to every small detail. And he's being honest. The analysts, the geeks, the laptop nerds, whatever you want to call them, they're looking at the Hungarian league. They're looking at this kid and they've got data and analysing these talents. That can only be a good thing. And also, in football terms, let's just be completely honest, 1.5 million, it's not big, is it? So it's well worth a gamble, if you want to call it that, at the same time. So I'm excited that we're doing these type of transfers. I don't mind the old laptop style ones. But there's a more senior man, and he's talking. Did anyone see that yesterday, that Alisson was put up by Brazil for their press conference? And he was actually asked about Liverpool, his contract and staying there. And he said, I've 1 year of my contract left and then 1 more year on a club option. They will probably exercise this option. Yeah, of course we bloody well. It's Alisson, for God's sake. I think about what I have in hand to do a great job. It's a decisive moment in my career when a World Cup is coming. World Cup is going to be a focus for a lot of players, aren't they? I think it will affect the summer window. Players will be looking to, when they're moving, am I going to start? If your club's in the World Cup, your nation is in the World Cup, you're going to be want to start in and be in regular game time for your club team. This is not a season to gamble on it and see. I think naturally, as we talked yesterday, that's why Chiesa wants to make the step, isn't it? He wants to go back to Italy and play regularly and put himself in that frame for the Italy World Cup squad. Of course it is. Alisson, I mean, we were a little bit worried approaching the summer, like there'd been talk of the Saudi element. Taffarel, in a great way, played that down. And now the fact he's talking about this, we've got Alisson for at least a season. My big hope, and maybe my big worry at the same time, is Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah. I think personally, you've got them for 2 years. You have to make sure by that 2-year period, you have completely replaced them. But they are elite. We've just got to get absolutely the most we can out of them. I think FSG and the powers that be know that in these next 2 years. Other quotes that Alisson gave as well worth mentioning. He said, I've achieved some personal merits in my career, but I believe my greatest merit was choosing to go to Liverpool. Just gets the tone right, the holy goalie, every time as well. He also said it was a very professional choice to go to a stable club, a very well-organised club with a great coaching club. And I think that was also part of why this is working out for me individually in my career. Now, I've not got the quotes on screen, but he also talked about how it's been a bit of an adjustment year in terms of Arne Slot coming in and how that's different. And I'm probably going to butcher his name here, but Fabian Oter, I think, is it? The former American keeper who's come in to work with the goalkeepers as well. He's had praise for him earlier in the season as well. So, yeah, it's just good to hear the elite players are keen to stay and are keen to make the most of these next few years at the club. We've got to remember that. We've just got to maximise. Alisson, elite. Van Dijk, elite. Salah, elite. The best players in the world in their position. Got to get the most out of them for 2 years. And by the way, having people like Wirtz, Kirkes and others around will certainly help that at the same time. Fingers crossed on that. What other stories are there? Ben Doak keeps coming up, doesn't he? Brentford. This would be an interesting one because Crystal Palace bid in January for Doak. Ipswich bid in January for Doak as well, about 60.5, 70 million, so below the asking price. The reports this summer have been Everton, haven't they? A number of times that's come out, like him, trying to get him across Stanley Park or wherever they are now. Now Brentford. And you do wonder, I don't know if this is a lazy link, but whether there's something in it. We do have a fascinating relationship with Brentford, don't we, in terms of Van der Berg gone, 20-odd million. Carvalho gone there, 20-odd million again. Kelleher now gone there, 80 million if all the add-ons are triggered, which the report suggests are simple to achieve or easier, if that's the right phrase. And now Ben Doak. I do wonder if Brentford are the new Bournemouth, and people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Do you remember when Bournemouth bought like Brad Smith, Dominic Solanke, Jordan Ibe? Basically the cast-offs a little bit that weren't quite good enough. Are Brentford going to be the new version of this? It'll be interesting as well, as I'm saying, Brentford, because it does look like Thomas Frank is set to be the new manager at Spurs, doesn't it? So we'll see what develops there, but I don't know genuinely enough about Brentford to see if that plays any part in that element. But we'll have to see what develops. Other stories on AI. So we mentioned this one yesterday, and it's a name that keeps coming up. Ousmane Diomande, sorry. And Diomande, young centre-half, 21. There is still, as I said yesterday, big question marks around Konate for me. And there's a few reports we mentioned on the transfer show in France that very much that PSG are there and ready for Konate. And they're also ready to lowball us with that offer. So Liverpool have to make a decision, don't they? They either sell this summer, and a lot of people think, yeah, if he won't renew, if they're going to renew, we know he's been in talks with us, and he mentioned that with his agent at the same time. But there's a big question mark, and it's not going to be solved in window 1. It's a window 2 job. But if Konate isn't going to sign, do they run him down, let him go on a free? Do they get a replacement in? And if it is a replacement, this boy keeps coming up. So Yanni's asked there, do you honestly believe the Diomande rumours are close to reality? I don't think there's an imminent move at all, Yanni. I don't think there's anything close at all in that sense. But as we mentioned before on the transfer show, It's absolutely a player that Liverpool have watched before and are looking at the same time. And some interesting stats when you look at his FB ref, and you have to remember under Amarim, before he went, a lot of his stats are based in playing in a 3-4-3. There's been a change, and it's not all been great at Sporting, has it, since the new manager came in? But pass completion in the 99th percentile, that's important. Passes attempted in the 96th percentile. So good there. Strong in the air. I want to say strong in the air. It's important to mention, because if I go down to miscellaneous, bit lower than last season, but 67.2 aerial success, 72.3 last season. So if you are looking for a Canate behemoth type, might fit the profile. Progressive passes aren't the best in the 47th percentile, but I think if you're honest, that's not Ibu's strength. He's got better underslot, but it's definitely not his strength, even though there has been a few nice passes and even assists for Ibu there as well. So if Liverpool do decide to move for a centre-half, I do think this guy could well be in the mix. I'd be surprised if Premier League clubs aren't having a serious look at him. But we'll see. A player that Premier League clubs are having a serious look at is Hugo Ekitike, and we'll talk about him in a second. But it's a busy time for everyone in the transfer window, and I'm going to be honest about this. This isn't like an ITK, this is an insight, but we message a few people as we talk about Anfield Index, and actually an analyst got back to me in 6 days after I first managed him, but it was around strikers and the situation. And a lot of the talk sort of within the industry at the moment is, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, the striker market is shit. That's essentially what a few people have said to us. People know there's inflated prices for a number 9. So Liverpool will know that as well. And if you think that's not the case, you look who Liverpool have looked at. Isak clearly looked at it, with Ornstein, Joyce, everyone's reported suggestions that Newcastle want a fee of 150 million. And look at his injury record as well. Yes, goals, though, I think he's a top finisher. I'm not doubting him as a player, but the injury record and everything, not played Champions League, and there's still talk of 150. Alvarez, a player Liverpool clearly alike, as Sam Maguire first reported and others have leaned into. It's funny how Atletico want to tell you every 5 minutes he isn't for sale. And the release clause keeps coming up. Has anyone noticed that? I checked back on this yesterday to make sure. I'm not being derogatory about any journalist, but let's just say there's one well-known one that deals with a lot of agents and constantly updates that in the last 7 weeks has put Alvarez's figure release clause at 280, 350, and now 500 million. So I don't know if it goes up every second or something like that, like a running total, but just something to consider on that. So the top dollar will take him. The reason I'm talking about this is Ekitike has clearly been looked at by Liverpool, as people have seen the reports and mentioned. Chelsea seem to be the front runner for this, but all the reports still have Marcus Kroescher and Eintracht Frankfurt's asking price for Hugo Ekitike as €100 million, which for me is a minimum of €20 million overpriced. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. See in the chat panel, we're not 12 and have to say good shit. That's not how it works. But he's overpriced. And you can say maybe he's not overpriced because the yardstick in the markets, as a lot of people in the industry are saying, are not good for strikers right now. And if you look at his profile, I mean, he got 19 goals across the Bundesliga and the Europa. He's a talented player, 11 assists, so 30 goal contributions. You have to remember that whenever you analyse a Bundesliga player against the Premier League, it's 0.84, so you're taking off about 16% of the stats. And he's quick, as the Bundesliga metrics suggest. I mean, and his non-penalty goal and XAG, 96 percentile. He is a carrier, just over 3 a game, the 96 percentile. His speed, KMH, is over 30. He is rapid. He takes people on. So there is potential there. I don't doubt that. And you can see here, if you're on YouTube or whatever medium, I've overlaid him against Diogo Jota, Ekitike being blue, Jota being red. He does beat him in a lot of areas. It's maybe the defensive elements where Jota wins, but again, that's in a Liverpool setup and he'd have to work on that. But as you stand right now, I mean, even has anyone seen the Arsenal latest for Sesko suggesting it'll be about 80 million? I mean, if Ekitike, they're asking 100 million euros, so you're around 80 million quid. Sesko, 80 million. Isak has suggested about 150. Alvarez, a similar amount. Gyökeres is the one that people seem to keep passing up on, isn't it? It's the striker markets, as a lot of analysts within the game are saying, is just not that good at the moment. And you do wonder how this will all play out for Liverpool. As in, is it definitely a number 9? Is it, as we mentioned on the transfer show, they've looked at a wideman that could also play? There's just so many options Liverpool are looking at. But part of the big thing is that the value doesn't seem to be there. That's the noise in the industry right there. And I got his name wrong yesterday. I think I called him Wolfgang, the 7'9" 900 striker that Germany operate. We'll see if he plays today. The Stuttgart boy, Liverpool have looked at him. Goncalo Ramos, as Sam Maguire had. Yeah, and we had it stood up. It was Sam's exclusive, but looking in further into that, yeah, Liverpool have had a good look at him. A Mendes client as well. So Liverpool are looking at the attacking market, but it might just not be that good, people. We've got to factor into that. And I do wonder what happens. It's also reliant on departures. This is important to say. I mean, I'm not, even this morning it came out that Al Hilal have again upped their offer to Victor Ousmane. And this was a tweet from Ismail Mahmoud that came out yesterday, you know, the journalist that is well known, has a lot of relations with Salah, saying there is absolutely nothing between Al Hilal and Darwin Núñez, and there will definitely be nothing between Al Hilal and Darwin Núñez this summer. There'd been a hope a little bit, hadn't there, around in this first window, which is ultimately for the Club World Cup, and Al Hilal, would they come in? But it seems like Ousmane is their key target that you expect to be done. If it doesn't, it's one to keep an eye on. But then you start to wonder who's going to take Darwin. Al Nassr have been linked before, but they bought Joan Duran. Do you remember the former Villa boy in the window? So you've got question marks around that as well. Luis Diaz linked with them at the same time. So I think they just brought us a fat check for like 130 million. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? But you're a little bit unsure on that. Yeah. There's a lot for Liverpool to sort in the forward line this summer. And Wirtz is obviously going to be, when he comes, a brilliant addition, an elite attacker. We should be buzzing beyond belief with that. But for the rest, there's a few question marks. And Harley messaging there, I agree, give Jayden Danns a chance. Just keep an eye out on Anfield Index, Harley and others, because there's a few stories about Jayden Danns, James McConnell, Tyler Morton was talking yesterday at the same time as well. There may well be a case where there's a few, I say Klopp youngsters, Liverpool youngsters, maybe it is a clear, who knows, but question marks. You'll see a story later today. Will they still be at the club by the end of the summer? So just one to keep an eye out on more than anything. But those are the real latest bits that are coming out, ladies and gents. And you've got the stories. You know how it works if that is your medium. In terms of YouTube and pods, there's even more put up today. As we said, the transfer show, the Liverpool elements, the Premier League elements, the European and Saudi elements, they were all released at the same time as well. This one as well, the Up Boys, they had a full season review on Arne Slot and how it works and the key metrics as well. So well worth the watch if you want to do it on YouTube, well worth the download if you do it on the various platforms across all major platforms like AIR at the same time. Various bits even about Luis Diaz, Andy Robertson, and I know there's even more to come later today. So really, really keep your eyes out on it. And I get it. We'll all be on Vert's watch in about 2 and a bit hours, seeing how he does. We'll all be hoping for some more news around Verts, Kerkez, and everything developing there. Just in case you missed it yesterday, Milos Kerkez left the Hungarian camp for private, quote-unquote, reasons, didn't he there? So I think we all know what we're expecting. But we'll have to see what develops today, ladies and gents. It is Sunday. It is officially the day of rest. Hopefully not for Liverpool, because Hughes, Edwards, Ward, Ayal will be doing jobs. But just in case you missed it at the top of the show, the biggest news from the last hour or so is Leverkusen expecting that final offer from Liverpool for Verts, which will be worth around 140 million euros, which is a package of a fixed transfer fee and realistic add-ons, with some more that are very difficult to achieve. It also mentions no medical scheduled yet. I've seen other accounts reporting that, but an agreement is likely to be reached in the next few days. We'll see if he starts. We'll see if he plays in this Germany versus France game. We'll see what develops this weekend. But on Sunday, the 8th of June, ladies and gents, that was another Anfield Index, a daily read for Anfield Index.